Alright, we're good. I'm gonna pick up our guest for today. Um, really sorry to bother you again, Lily. This is my second time recording this. The first time it just kind of didn't feel like working, unfortunately, because I grabbed a bad SD card, as it turns out, which is very unfortunate, but there we go. Oh, yeah, you're gonna leave me? No, you're not. Great. Um, so real quick, before I really get into the meat of the video, I'm going to switch my upload schedule to just upload whenever. Just whenever, not weekly anymore, but whenever I feel like I have something to ramble on about that I really feel like, yeah, this is worth rambling about, and I feel like people will enjoy hearing me talk about. I just think that'll be more enjoyable to watch and less bland. I think it'll be more interesting. So, yeah. Uh, Before we begin, I'd like to stress that today's going to be serious. I'm going to get serious with you. And I apologize if I'm not as into it this time. I'm going to have to try and think of all my points again. But it is going to be a bit serious. So I got to get my serious face on. And gotta get my juice. Oh, sorry, Lily. Pour the Kool-Aid. Oh, are you coming over here? Are you coming back? Satisfying. I'm just gonna put this back. Hey, come on. Oh, I'd love to have you in the shot with me. That would make me very happy, Lily. I don't care that you don't balance the shot. You're very important to this video. Okay, goodbye. We're gonna talk today about music. Obviously, it's very important to me. I talk about it a lot on this channel. But I just want to talk about it and I guess explain what it means to me as a medium of entertainment and beyond. So, she's back. I do wonder, when I play music, she never really gets into it. She just kind of walks away. I think she enjoys when Sean's here and he plays on the piano over there in the other room, but she doesn't really care about music in general. No matter what kind of music it is, she's just carries on with her business. Whatever. But music for me, I think it's worth noting to start off. I like to keep it a positive experience. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be free of critique. I think that critique is very important, and that's what allows us to grow in anything, is we need to understand and recognize our weaknesses in order to grow. We have to grow from seeing those, realizing what they are, and understanding them, taking them in, comprehending them, and then working on bettering them into strengths. And so what that plays in, though, is that I think it's important to be able to be positive about music in any fashion, that you can look at it as something that can grow better. I think that's worth saying too. Music is something that is very sensitive, and every person kind of has their own definition. So that's part of the reason I think it's important to be positive about it, is that everyone does see music differently. And so I think it's important to respect that and everyone's boundaries with music. and to be able to come into it with a positive mindset and look at each other, see what we're into musically, and take away something from that. I I think it's interesting how there's so many different genres out there. And I get into a lot of them, but there's some that I just cannot get into, you know? There's forms of metal, I don't really get into that. And forms of country, I don't get into that too much either. But what's interesting to me, especially from what I've learned in the last couple years, is that there's so many subgenres, and they can be so obscure. And it's so interesting. You can't just judge a genre by its, like, base, you know? And so, while, to me, metal is metal, to someone who knows metal music, there's so many different subgenres under that one word of metal, you know? So, and that, I mean, look at me. I'm into a genre called yacht rock. I love yacht rock. What the hell is yacht rock? You know? I think it's a phenomenal genre, and that just tells my point. It's something obscure, and everyone has their own taste, and everyone can find something random and get into it. And all sorts of different types of music, and that's so cool to me. There's so much out there. If I were to say my favorite genres, yacht rock, of course. I love disco a lot and funk. I'd say those are the big ones. Kind of funky music, disco, specifically post disco. I like the more electronic sound of post disco more. And yacht rock. And I should define yacht rock. I'm terrible at defining it, but I'll try. Kind of think of it like smooth, soft rock music that has complex chord changes, jazz chord changes, that kind of stuff. Definitely can have a jazz influence, and the genre overall relies a lot on session musicians and just a kind of revolving pool of them. Like, think Jeff Porcaro of Toto, Michael McDonald, Larry Carlton, David Page. I really gotta check my pronunciation of his name. Is it Page or Page? I'm not sure. Those are some big names. And I guess other big names as far as, like, actual artists and bands. I mean, obviously you can kind of assume from that list. Toto, Michael McDonald's version of the Doobie Brothers, Christopher Cross, Steely Dan. Yeah, Steely Dan is yacht rock. Yeah, even Michael Jackson's Thriller album counts as yacht rock. Because, think about it, Toto was very involved with that album and its overall production and style. So, yeah. Hey, you're back. Oh, yeah. No? Gonna leave? Hey? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she laid with me during the first take, and now she doesn't really want to. And that's totally alright. I just appreciate her coming over here to be on camera. Oh! Goodbye. I think it's interesting, too, that everyone consumes music differently as well. So, some people like to go to concerts to listen to music. Some people like to go to local gigs, local small gigs. Some people just like to listen to it on their phone. Oh, gosh, she's meowing at the door. Some people like to play music. Some people like to write music. Some people like to compose music. And there's just so many different options. Some people like to play different instruments. She's not going to shut up for a moment. Some people like to play multiple instruments. Some people just play one and focus on that. Some people do just a mix of these things. Some people like to work together. Some people like to work alone. There's all sorts of different stuff you can do, and that's so cool to me. All sorts of different options. And I think that's worth celebrating. And that's the big theme of this video. I think it's worth celebrating music. I think it's worth celebrating that we all have different tastes in music. We all consume music differently. We all have different ideas of what music is, and I think that's worth celebrating. That is something that we should hold as a high standard and a cool thing. Another thing is, I think if you are going to go for music, I think one of the initial goals, the first goal you should have, is if you're going to put music out there, I think it's so important to say that if you put something out there successfully and someone gets something from that, you make an impact on someone, I think you've succeeded already. I think you've already succeeded as a musician. I think one of the most important things is the feeling of music and understanding a song. And I struggle a lot. I just don't always understand what a song means. I don't really listen for that a lot of the time. I listen more for how the song sounds than more for what it feels. But like, I explain that really poorly. I care more for how the song sounds in terms of instrumentation and changes, chord changes and all that, compared to like the meaning of the song. But they go hand in hand. That's the thing. Is that the way that a song sounds can oftentimes lean in to what you should be taking away from it, just in terms of its general sound. Like, is it moody? Is it cheery? You know, so on and so forth. I'm losing my original point that I was going on. But I just... Oh, shoot. I really did lose my original point that I was going on. I just think it's worth... I was talking about making an impact on people, and that's so cool, that if you manage to do that, that's success. Because, yeah, I think I remember where I was at. Because feeling is so important in music. Feeling is important to a lot of people in music, in terms of the emotion and what they get away from it. And so, if they manage to take away something, even if it's just, yo, your music sounds really cool, that's dope, man. That's so sick. I don't know, I just like that. I'm going to look at the time on the video real quick. You know me, doing my regular 6.5 minutes left. Nice. That's what's important to me. If I'm going to go out there and I'm actually going to make an album someday, I just care first and foremost that I want it to speak to someone. All I care is that I want someone, even if it's just one person, to listen to this thing and take away, wow, I enjoyed that in some form. I don't care how, you know. I don't care if they enjoyed it for the instrumentation or the lyrics or the meaning of the songs or whatever. I just care that they take away something from it. And that's what matters to me most, is as someone who, as a prospective musician who wants to put stuff out there. And it's interesting too to see how I've changed too in the last couple of years, trying to go to college for music and finding that wasn't what I wanted to do with my career as a musician. And I don't want to say career as a musician, because I don't even know if I want to, excuse me, I burped, do career as a musician. You know, maybe it's just something I want to pursue on the side for my whole life. But the one thing I know is that I'm going to be intertwined with music my whole life. I'm always going to be involved with it, and that's so cool. Because I know people that do play music, and I love listening to them. Sean, God, that man plays piano so well. I love listening to him. And there's so many others too. I'm not going to name drop them just for the sake of, like, there's a little universe in this channel, and I don't want to involve other people who, you know, in case if you're someone who isn't local watching this, you know. But music's just different for every single person. It's a personal experience for everyone. And that's great. I want to be a part of that personal experience for someone. That would be great. I know there's points I missed, but I definitely think that's the note I end on. I don't see how I could stress it more than that. In this house, we celebrate music and its impact. I just drank, but cheers anyways. Hey, thank you for watching me ramble for close to 20 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. Love to see you stick around for the future. Hopefully I'm going to be putting out more interesting videos. I'd like to actually start editing some stuff soon. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for now. So, goodbye. Toodaloo. Have a nice one. Hasta la vista.